Homer's Odyssey or 武则恩西游记? Which classic has the more amazing adventure? Hello, I'm Dr. Gwee Li Sui. Let us find an answer to that question. Different people have different ideas of what constitutes amazing. So let us agree to understand this term in just three ways here. One, how ambitious the adventure is. Two, how strange it is. And three, how gripping it is. The worlds of both our works are separated by vast distance and vast time. But there is a key similarity worth us beginning with. This is their rather unresolved authorship. The Odyssey with the Iliad are two great Greek epics commonly ascribed to Homer. Both poems are thought to be composed between the 8th and 7th century BCE and to have originated as songs orally circulated and passed down in time. But Homer himself is called many things, depending on your sources. He was a blind illiterate poet, a wandering bard, a witness of the Trojan War, even the offspring of a river god, or the son of Telemachus, which would make him Odysseus' grandson. 7 ancient cities had laid claim to being his birthplace. In fact, while Homer is universally revered today as a great, if not the greatest, Western poet, scholars still ask whether the Homeric epics were created by one person or several people. We simply do not know whether Homer the writer existed. We do know that Wu Chen existed. He was a Ming official who lived from the turn of the 16th century to the 1580. But the earliest known complete copy of 西游记 was published anonymously later in 1592. And not until the early 20th century was Wu's authorship deemed academically acceptable. Questions deepened when, though Wu was a known writer in his time, he had made no mention of this novel anywhere. The fact is further complicated by how a good deal of it obviously drew from popular folktales and how textual details on politics do not quite show the experiences of the man. What is sure is that CUC was inspired by a real Tang-era monk's 17-year journey to India to make better translations of Buddhist scripture. It reimagines the trip with Tang Sangzhang having 3 demonic disciples, Sun Wukong, Supajie, and Sa Wuqing, and a white horse, a transmogrified dragon prince. By contrast, the Trojan War that inspired the Homeric epics is only conventionally historical. While both books may involve this 10-year siege of Troy, one in its last days and one after it, scholars debate over whether it actually happened, and if so, where and when. Since the late 19th century, a key candidate for Troy has been Hisarlik in modern Turkey. But even there, multiple possible archaeological layers have surfaced. The poems themselves offer little help since weapons and customs described seem to be from different ages. As the Odyssey relates a further 10 years King Odysseus takes to get home to his Ithaca, the hero has technically been away for 2 decades. In his absence, being presumed dead by many, his wife Penelope and son Telemachus are harassed by Penelope's increasingly rowdy suitor. Homer's epic is made up of 24 books, and while Wu's novel has a total of 100 chapters. The former begins in media res, which is to say in the middle of the story, with Telemachus setting out of Ithaca to save his mother by finding his father. This opening then flips to how Odysseus escapes his 7-year captivity by the name Calypso and tells his backstory to his Phoenician host. After this, not now in the present, we follow Odysseus and his discovered son as they plot to head home and save his kingdom. Yuchi also begins with a backstory, 2 in fact, but these portions are distinct from the journey proper as they read of how Wukong came to be under Wu Xingsan, 5 elements mountain for 500 years, and how Sanzang has received his mission. Then, for a massive 87 chapters, the expedition to Jiufeng Vulture Peak, which is around India's ancient city of Rajagaha, rolls out. By the way, the pilgrim's return journey takes up all of one chapter. Let us now look at the adventures themselves. Both classics are similar in bridging two actual regions with a wildly imaginary landscape. Between Turkey and Greece, Odysseus's fleet seemed to have gone around southern Europe and as far down as Africa, whereas Sun Tzu's group travels across Central Asia along the Silk Road. But after leaving Troy, Odysseus's 12 ships first reach the Lotus Eaters, whose food causes forgetfulness. They flee this danger, only to be captured faithfully on the island of Cyclops by the man-eating Polyphemus. Our hero's escape plan involves blinding the monster and then strapping themselves under his ship as they are led out to graze. His singular mistake is to have shouted his name back in pride while sailing away, leading Polyphemus to cry on his father to avenge him. As it turns out, the Cyclops is the son of Poseidon, god of the sea. So it is that as the warriors near Ithaca, they foolishly opened a magic bag of wind and are blown off course. The gargantuan Laestrygonians destroy all but Odysseus' own ship, and the sorceress Circe drugs his men, turns half of them into swine, and detains Odysseus for a year. An eventual visit to the land of the dead reveals the way home, with a caveat. Do not eat the sun god Helios's livestock. So the sailors skirt the hypnotic sirens by jamming their ears with beeswax. They squeeze between the land and sea monsters Scylla and Charybdis, and then they run out of food. What do? They eat Helios's secret cattle. Consequently, all but Odysseus are drowned. Our hero is captured by Calypso to be her lover for 7 years. While the pilgrims of CUT likewise travel westward, they had much better topographical bearing. Both terrains may be harsh and perilous, but the latter has mountains, valleys, and deserts differently inhabited by evil men and worse, demons. On the human side, the Far Easterners meet bandits and bad Buddhist monks who covered their valuables enough to want them dead. They also meet bad Taoist priests who persecute Buddhist monks and ritualize child sacrifice, and not as bad, an entire kingdom of women. But the demonic side truly dominates. We keep reading of demons and animal spirits of all sorts: tigers, lions, bulls, rocks, elephants, rhinoceroses, scorpions, spiders, centipedes, and so on. Many of these desire to devour Sanchang's flesh, which is said to grant immortality. Legendary demons in CUT include Bai Guqing, who shapeshifts into innocent-looking folks whom Wukong kills, causing his banishment by Sanchang. To be sure, the Monkey King gets banished and reinstated a couple of times. There are also the demon child Hong Ai and his father Niu Mo Wang, Wukong's once sworn brother and now nemesis. There are Wukong's mysterious double, whom even Guan Yin cannot differentiate from the real Wukong, and the tag team of Zi Zuqing and Ba Yan Mo Wang, 100 Eyes Demon Lord. It is interesting to note that some powerful demons are in fact linked to Bodhisattvas and Taoist immortals. For example, the brothers Jing Jiao and Ying Jiao, Gold Horn and Silver Horn, turn out to be the disciples of Taishan Lao Jun. The child-eating weather demon Ling Gang Da Wan is Guan Yin's missing, get this, goldfish. And the woman that Dr. Sai Tai Sui is her missing horse. A demonic lion king and elephant king are horses of bodhisattvas. So now let us weigh everything up. For sure, both adventures are very ambitious, one being a 10-year homecoming and the other a pilgrimage of 17 years. But while CUT covers a staggering 10,000 miles on horseback and foot, Odysseus' fleet, had it stayed on course, would be sailing just 500 nautical miles. We can guess that its subsequent wandering stretches this by at most 4 to 5 times, although for most of the years, the Greeks are stranded on land. The conversely ever-moving Sanchang is said to face a total of 81 tribulations, the number he needs to attain Buddhahood. Yet, However you count this, CUG is definitely missing a few episodes. The figure is still 5 to 6 times more than what Odysseus and his crew encounter. So in terms of scale, Sanzang and friends win. As for strangeness, both classics have their share of delightfully fantastical adversaries. All of CUG's demons possess magical powers ranging from powerful breaths and poisonous stings to incredible shape-shifting abilities. The foes in Odyssey are giants, monsters, and ultimately evil men. They are means to threaten being physical strength, drugs, wine, and magic. So while Homer's monsters are more extreme and diverse in kind, Wu's repertoire of unnatural powers is far more impressive. But while the historical Sanchang might have crossed Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Nepal, Wu's novel reveals little cultural diversity. Homer's poem is a little more attentive to details of difference. Thus, in this respect, we get a tie. As for gripping adventure, CUT is certainly careful to present a less powered Wukong than the one we meet early on as Qi Tian Da Shen. After all, that Monkey King could have leapt from China to India in a single bound. The older Wukong is regularly humbled via Guan Yin's golden headband, and he meets many a combatant as powerful as, if not more powerful than him. This raises plot tension and helps to make Wukong's reformative path more relatable. By comparison, Odysseus' team is way worse, consisting of just men. They mostly rely on their cunning, human strength, physical and inner, and cooperation to overcome challenges. And often they fail due to personal weaknesses. The Far Easterners fail too, to be clear, but at least Sun Tzu and his disciples can count on Kuan Yin's or the Buddha's help as a last resort. In fact, several tribulations seem to be set up as mere tests by these higher-ups and are ultimately harmless. Revealingly, all in Team Sun Tzu make it home alive, whereas the Odyssey's sole returnee is Odysseus. You see, the Homeric gods are differently enigmatic, being either outright obstructive or ambivalently helpful. For example, what are we to make of the wind god Aleosius' gift of a bag of wind? Athena, Odysseus' family god, at last comes to aid properly, but after several years. Given the real cost of life, the Greeks' wandering feels more gripping rather than the fellowship of the scrolls. We experience their weariness and homesickness and lament the recurring tragedies of loss. We feel Odysseus missing his family, Telemachus wishing for his father he last saw as a baby, and the tenderness of a reunited old couple. Perhaps the Odyssey offers no moral lesson except that regardless of our failings and the outcome, we should still strive for the things we treasure. CUC more clearly rewards focus, perseverance with one's life mission, and the value of partnership. It also reassures us that however much wrong we have done, there is always a path of contrition to yet make good of ourselves. So tell me, which adventure do you find more amazing?